Okay. Hi, Jordan. So, what brought you here today?
Just feeling very overwhelmed with work, or at work, I should say.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about your feelings of overwhelm.
Okay. Where to begin? Okay. So basically, um, as you know, I'm a special ed teacher, and I teach in an inclusion class, and I've been working with for the past 3 years. I was working with this one guy who not only were we coworkers, but we really became like friends and stuff, and we just got along really well. And of course, working 3 years together in the same classroom, and multiple classrooms, we've really just like we knew how to work well together for the students. And unfortunately, he decided to look for a job in another place, which
Okay.
I'm happy for, but at the same time, I miss him. Of course, it's like a 3 year marriage. It's kind of like a divorce.
Right.
So, anyway, they hired this new person who's very nice, but unfortunately, she doesn't speak English very well.
Okay.
And she's extremely new to the country and the whole American way of doing things and everything like that. And basically, what's happening is I'm doing my job and I'm doing her job.
Okay. So it sounds like you're a little frustrated, overwhelmed with work.
Yeah.
But let me just see if I'm getting this right. So you now work with a new teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, you were working with someone for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of a change.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So let me explain a little more of like what's actually happening that I'm just kind of overwhelmed about. So technically, my responsibilities as the special ed teacher is to modify the instruction and the activities and things like that for not just my students, but like any student who's kind of struggling in the classroom and everything like that.
Okay.
So now, because unfortunately this woman really doesn't speak English well, I'm doing my job, which is the modifying and coming up with different activities and things like that. And now I'm also doing her job. Like, for instance, I've been writing the lesson plans, which is technically her responsibility. I've been taking so many different roles in the classroom, which are technically supposed to be her responsibility in a class, but it's
Right.
falling back onto me. She told me the other day that she's afraid of the students in our class, which in a way I can understand because some of the boys in that classroom they do come off a little aggressive looking and things like that. But I guess with her not really understanding the educational system and things like that, she doesn't know how to handle special ed kids. She doesn't know how to handle students with hyperactivity issues or behavioral issues and everything. And of course, yes, that's my job as the special ed teacher to deal with that. But at the same time, she should also be helping me with that.
Right.
Like for instance, the other day, one of my students was asking me about his grade, and I was in the middle of working with another student, and she went over to him and told him that, if he continues to do what he's doing, or technically not doing what he's doing, then, yeah, of course he was going to fail. And he, in the middle of class, told her to go F herself.
Oh, wow.
So, hearing that, of course, I've got to stop now working with the student I'm working with and handle the situation immediately. So I remove him, deal with him. I come back, and now I have to explain to her what his issue is. And some of that behavior that he just displayed is typical of him, and it's got to be handled in a certain manner. But then I need to kind of show to the students that it is being dealt with, but not also show them that if one of them were to say it, how they would be handled, how I would handle them is different than how I would handle him, and so I have to try to balance it so that they don't so that they don't know, but yet let them know that they can't do it and everything like that. So anyway, the other day I was just observed, and
Well, if I could just pause you for 1 second,
Sure.
because I think that it's great how, you're still handling your own responsibilities but taking on someone else's, and you're trying to help this new teacher,
mm-hmm.
get comfortable within the classroom. Can you just tell me a little bit more about your relationship with her and the communication that the two of you have?
I try to work with her as much as I can. Again, I know what it's like being a new teacher, um, to a degree. But then again, when I became a teacher, I was also more confident, and I didn't have to worry about a language barrier or anything like that. So I do work with her daily, and I try to explain, the whole different things of education, and I also try to work with her with creating lesson plans and things like that. Um,
Okay.
but it's frustrating on my part because I feel like a lot of times I have to repeat myself over and over again because she doesn't understand. And she'll send me like text messages or emails asking me like, can I do this?
Okay.
And it's kind of like, well, you're the general ed teacher. You're the one who's supposed to know and, create all the content type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and do it. Don't ask for my approval on it.
So you feel very much frustrated, but
Yes.
more so because it's kind of conflicting with your educational values as a teacher.
Absolutely.
Especially because you focus a lot on special ed, so.
Absolutely.
But now you're in the point where it's special ed, regular ed, at the end of the day, they're all your students.
Mm-hmm. Like, I do have my degree in general education, or, my certificate to be a general education teacher and a special education teacher. And I'm to the point where it's kind of like, if I have special ed kids in there and I have general ed kids in there and I have both certifications to teach that, why even have her in the classroom? I can handle both. I'm certified to do both. Let me just do both because I'm doing that work anyway.
Okay, so let's see if I get this right. So you are certified both,
Mm-hmm.
regular ed and special ed, but you have another teacher in there, but there's somewhat of a lack of communication because of language barriers.
Absolutely. And cultural.
And cultural, okay. And now it's affecting the classroom management styles and overall
the instruction.
The way that the instruction is being given. Okay.
And since as a teacher, my job is to educate these children, I feel like they're not being educated anyway. Or at least not to the level that they should be. Again, I was just recently observed in my classroom, and here I am working with the students that I'm supposed to be working with more on a one-on-one situation, modifying different things for them, and just doing different activities than what the vast majority of the class was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's giving a direct instruction to that group of students, and they're talking, and they're really not paying attention. And then in my observation, it came back and it it resulted on me.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, okay, well, even in the observation, it's obviously showing that I'm supposed to be taking control of everything because you're clearly stating it in my observation.
Right.
How am I supposed to be able to control the students that I'm dealing with one-on-one, but yet also control the students that she's dealing with?
Okay, so you feel defeated because of the lack of smoothness within the classroom.
Very much so. Very much so defeated. I don't know. I just don't even know. Like I said, I'm trying to work with her, but I don't know what else I can possibly do. I don't want to, because of my personality, and I know my personality is very strong, powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to feel like she's not important and not have a role, but at the same time, at this point, I'm feeling like I don't even need you in the classroom. I can handle the classroom, which just showed yesterday when my students, not meaning to make her cry, made her cry. And the reason why she ended up crying was, again, because of a cultural difference. And I told her to leave the classroom to get herself together and everything, and I ended up teaching the entire class for the 80-some minutes, and I was perfectly fine with it, with all the students together and continuing the lesson. So obviously I can teach the class by myself and everything like that and have total control, but it's almost as if when she comes in, that control, that smoothness, the flow, the structure of the classroom is just gone right out the window.
Okay. So we have a few more minutes left but I just kind of want to sum up and just review what we kind of went over. And it seems like you're very frustrated, angry, and you almost feel a little bit unsuccessful because of the communication between whether it's the administration, yourself, and the new teacher. And it's causing you to kind of question steps and things in your career.
Absolutely.
Okay. You know, I want to encourage you to continue the communication that you have with the teacher that you're working with, because it seems like, you know, you are trying to help her in many different ways, but you're also reflecting on how you feel, and I think that's great. So next week we'll meet again and see how things go.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Oh God. How do you feel?
Okay. Actually, it feels